Okay, we are in Parshat Yitro, and Yitro is a very interesting parsha because besides the giving of the Ten Commandments that we have, and they're well known for that, the question is, did Yitro come before or did he come after the giving of the Ten Commandments? When did he come? So if you go by the straight chronology of the Torah, it seems that he came before, because we're hearing, this is a parsha that we hear it. So the part is, it says that Yitro heard something. What did he hear? Well, we'll find out what he heard. But the reason that there is an opinion that says, so the straight opinion is very simple, that he came before Matan Torah. He came before the event. That's what happened. And that's the chronological order set up. The problem is, in the second Aliyah, it starts with Vayhim Macharat. It was on the next day. And Moshe was sitting down to judge the people, and that's when we get into the whole Supreme Court system that Yitro advises his son-in-law Moshe to make, and that seems to be, if you look at Rashi at that point, by Macharat, that's the day after Yom Kippur. Well, that's the day after Yom Kippur, and that's the second day. So what's going on there? It seems that he came after. So that's really what the whole argument is. Did he come before? Did he come after? And so on and so forth. We're going to go with the opinion that he came before. But you should just know that there are two opinions out there. Okay, so now let's start. Vayishma Yitro, Yitro heard, and who was Yitro? He was a Chohe Midian, he was a priest of Midian, the Chotin Moshe. He was a father-in-law of Moshe. And what did he hear? Ekol Asher Asa Elokim LeMoshe, all that Hashem did for or to Moshe Uli Yisrael Amo, and to Israel his nation. And what did he hear? Ki hotzi Hashem et Yisrael Mitzrayim, that Hashem took Israel out from Mitzrayim. So it starts with Vayishma Yitro, and it doesn't say what he heard. It just says that all that he did to Moshe and the people. And finally, the last part, which seems to be what it's implying, that Hashem took the people out from Mitzrayim. So now, if you go to Rashi says, Ma Shemiya, Shema, what did he hear? Shema that he came, he heard Kriyat Yam Suf, he heard about the splitting of the Reed Sea, Umilchemet Amalek, and he heard of the war of Amalek, and he said if the Jews could survive that, so it's time that he comes to hear what's going on. Yitro, why is he called? Is Sheva Shemot Nikru, he was called 7 names. Reuel, Yeter, Yitro, Chovev, Chever, Keni, Putiel. And why was he called these different names? So Rashi says, Yeter, Al Shem Sheyatir, Parsha Achad, because the name Yeter is indicative of that he added one Parsha, namely the Parsha dealing with the Supreme Court, setting up the Supreme Court system. Okay, then Yitro, and when he was called, when he became a ger, when he converted, so they added one letter to his name, so it went to Yitro, because he fulfilled the mitzvot. So they added one letter to his name. Chovav, obviously called Chovav. Shechavav et Torah, because he loved the Torah. V'chovev hu Yitro, and how do we know that Chovev is Yitro? Because it says in Shoftim Vibnei Chovav Chote Moshe, which because of the sons of Chovav, the father-in-law of Moshe. So Chovav is obviously Yitro. Okay. V'yeshom Reuel Aviv Shel Yitro, and some people say that Reuel was not one of Yitro's names, but rather he was a father of Yitro. So then when it says V'tavona El Reuel Avihan, that they came to Reuel, their father. Why would they say that? Because it says that the Tinoko Koron La'avi Avihen Abba, that children call their grandfather Abba. So that's why. So you really have 6 names, and so the rabbis ask. So it's not really 7 names. And if he was called Yeter before he was converted, so then it's called Yitro. So again, you have less names. So what's going on there? So it means that while he had 7 names for his whole lifetime, he wasn't called all those 7 names every part of his life. You understand? So sometimes he was, at one stage he was called Chovav. At one stage he's called Yeter. At one stage he's called Yitro. And he could be called Ruel, or it could be the father. And it's just the girls are calling him dad. Okay? Then why does he have to say Choten Moshe, the father-in-law of Moshe? So the Mechilta says, Kan haya Yitro mitchaved b'Moshe. He became honored through Moshe. Ani Choten HaMelech, I am the father-in-law of the king. The Sha'avar, previously haya Moshe Tola HaGadol b'Chamav. It was Moshe who would put his greatness on the father-in-law. Shneim v'yeshav el Yeter v'yashav Yeter Chodno, that he returned to Yeter, his father-in-law. Now that's okay, fine. We identified everything there. Now the verse says, "Et kol asher asa leMoshe u'lishalamo." Why is he saying all those two things? It should just say to Moshe or to Israel. So what does what do the rabbis learn? Shakol Moshe keneged kol Israel. That Moshe was equal. If you would have a scale and you put Moshe on one side of the scale and Israel on the other side, it would be equal weight. Ekol asher asa lahem b'rit haman, all that he had done to him, namely the raining down of the man, the heavenly bread, v've'ir, and the well that they got, and Amalek, and also about the war of Amalek. Amalek was the ultimate victory. Amalek was coming from left field. He's a grandson of Esau, and he's come from left field. He has nothing to do with the fight, but he had a trained army. He should have been able to defeat the Jewish people who were just slaves anyway, and coming out from slavery, and yet he lost. So that was one of the major victories they have. And then finally, Ki Heotzi Hashem, that Hashem took them out of Mitzrayim. He says, Zu Gedol Al Kulam. This is greater than everything else the Mechilta says. Because what happened? For centuries, people could not escape from Egypt. One slave could not escape, and here you have 2 million people walking away. So that's what he hears. Fine. So now what happens? Vayikach Yitro Chotem Moshe. So Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe, took et Zipporah Eshet Moshe. Zipporah, the wife of Moshe, Achar Shishulucheha, after he sent her away. So what's going on here? When did he send her away? When did Moshe send his wife away? The last we remember, in Parashat Shemot, he went with his wife, and they had. She saved his life by circumcising her child. Where does it say that he sent her back? Wasn't she with her? Suddenly she was sent away. So Rashi explains, when Hashem said to Moshe, was talking to Moshe in Midian, and he says, Lech shuv Mitzrayim, go back, go and return to Mitzrayim. Vayikach Moshe et ishto v'ed panav. So it says Moshe took his wife and his sons. V'yitze Aaron l'krato v'yifkasheh b'har Elokim. And so what happens was Aaron comes out and he meets him at the mountain of Hashem. Armalo. So Aaron says to Moshe, Mihem, who are these people? So Armalo zuhi ishti shenasati b'Midian ve'el b'nai. He said to him, this is my wife that I married in Midian, and these are my children. Shamalo. And so again, Aaron asked Moshe, where are you bringing them? So Amalo. So Moshe answers Aaron, let me try him. Bring them to Mitzrayim. It's a nice family vacation. Okay. Huh? So Amalo. So Aaron says to Moshe, Al Rishonim anu mitztarim. On the original one's name of the Jews there right now, we are distressed. And now you want to come to add to that distress by bringing your family in. It's not a good situation. You can't bring your family into to slavery. Okay, as far as the boys of B'nai Levi, they're not really going to be affected. Your wife is not going to be a good situation. We don't need to add to this. Fine. So Amrullah, he said to her, Moshe says to his wife, Zipporah, L'chi el beit avich, go to your husband, to your father's house. So what happens? She takes her 2 boys, she goes. That's why he says, now, Yitro doesn't know why she was sent away. Was it divorce? No, so quickly to divorce somebody. Was it a divorce? And that's why he's bringing her after she was sent away. He doesn't know why she was sent away, so he has a whole question. Fine. So now what happens? And he also brings V'ed Shnei Vaneh and her 2 boys, Asher and his 2 boys. No, her 2 boys. Excuse me. Asher Shem Echad Gershom. The name of one. The first one was Gershom. Why was it Gershom? Ki Amar, as he said, because Moshe said when he was naming the child, Ger Hayiti, I was a stranger be'eretz Nachriya, in a strange land. And then V'Shem Ha'echad, that we already knew, by the way, from Shemot, but this one we don't know. V'Shem Ha'echad Eliezer, and the name of the other one was Eliezer. Ki Elokei Avi Be'ezri, because the God of my father was my help. V'Yatzileni Michara Paroni, saved me from the sword of Paro. And Rashi explains what's going on there. Kishegilu Datan v'Aviram al Devar Mitzri. When Datan and Aviram, the bad guys of the Torah, when they exposed what the matter of the Mitzri, the one that Moshe had killed by the name of Hashem or whatever, however he got rid of him. So Ubikesh laharog et Moshe, and the Paro wanted to kill Moshe. Nasat Savaro Ka'amud Shal Shaish. So Hashem made Moshe's neck like marble, so that it would be impenetrable by the sword. Amongst the other many miracles that happened, but that's why he said, he saved me from the sword of Paro. Fine. Next verse, it says, Vayavo Yitro. So now Yitro, the Choten Moshe, the father of Moshe, came. Uvanav and his sons, namely Moshe's sons, V'ishto Shal Moshe, and the wife of Moshe, El HaMidbar, to the wilderness. Asher hu chonesh sham, that he was living there, camped there, Har Elokim, by the mount of Hashem. The question is, Rashi says, wait a second, why do you have to tell me, excuse me, that is El HaMidbar? You already said he came to Moshe. We know where Moshe is. So why are you saying El HaMidbar? So it says, Af anu yodim. Rashi says, Af anu yodim shebemidbar hayah. We also knew that they were in the Midbar, in the wilderness. Ela b'shvacho shel Yitro diber ketuf. But what's happening is that the verse is telling us the praise of Yitro. Shai yoshe bichvodo shel olam. He was living in luxury. V'nidvo libo letzed al Midbar, and his desire was to go to the Midbar, Makom Tohu, a place of desolation, the Shmo Divrei Torah, to hear words of Torah. That is a tremendous praise. Here you have a person who was, like I said, had everything, and he was a rich man. Regardless of what he did, he had a little bit of rebellion in his place, and he may have had some problems with the neighbors, but still the guy was rich, and he was respected by many people. So what does this person do? He knows that the Jews are in the desert. He knows that there's a lot of miracles going on there, and he wants to come, and he wants to be Makabel Torah. He wants to receive the Torah. He wants to be a Matan Torah. It's a tremendous thing. He left a lap of luxury to go to Elkhart. It's like somebody here in South Bend, a Makam Torah that we have, and then he goes to Elkhart, or worse, he goes to whatever other places, going to even deeper places, where Goshen. They have a Jew in Goshen. I don't even know if there's a Jew in Goshen. Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Why would you go there? But if that's where it is, you're going to hear Torah, where you're going to leave your lap of luxury to go to a place where you're hearing Torah. That's what you have to do. And that was the praise that we're hearing for Yitro. Okay. Vayomer el Moshe. Now here's another strange line. Vayomer el Moshe, and he said to Moshe, Ani chotencha Yitro ba'elecha. I, your father-in-law Yitro, have come to you. Well, isn't that strange? Can you imagine you go to your house and say, you talk to your parents, your son, Stan, have come home. Your parents are going to look at you. I know who you are. That's not the problem. So why is he saying that? Why is he saying that like to Moshe? So Rashi says he didn't say it to Moshe. He said, Al Yidei Shaliach. He said it through a messenger. Moshe doesn't have to introduce himself to Moshe, but through a messenger, because Moshe is the king. Moshe has a lot to do. So he says to somebody, please tell Moshe that his father-in-law is here. I have arrived. And he says, if you don't want to come on my behalf, say began ishcha, come off your wife. If you don't want to come off your wife, say began shnei baneh, come off your two sons. Okay, so that's what he's saying. I'm here, and your wife shnei baneh ima, and the two children with her. Say Moshe lekrat chotno. So right away Moshe comes out to meet his father-in-law. Very nice. Vayishtachu vayishaklo. He bows down, and he bows down and he kisses him. The question Rashi says is, who's kissing whom? Who's bowing down? Who's kissing whom? So first is vayishalu ish l'riyehu l'shalom, and each man asked his friend how he's doing. And they came to the tent. So Rashi says, Moshe, kavod gadol nidchaved Yitro ba'ot sha'ah. That it was a tremendous honor that Moshe did at that time to his father-in-law. The kevan sheyatza Moshe, because once Moshe, who is the king coming out, yatza Aaron Nadav Leviyu, then automatically Aaron and Nadav Leviyu going out. Umi hu shara and elu yotzin lo yatzan, and whoever would see these people going out, would they not go out also? Of course they'll go out. So he has a whole entourage. Vayishtachu vayishaklo, again. Nobody knows, I don't know, Rashi says, who bowed down to whom? But when it says ish, a man to his friend, mi hakroi ish, who is called man, Moshe. This is Moshe, Shenamar vayish Moshe. It says the man Moshe. Now the question is, why would Rashi or the Gemara entertain the possibility that Moshe would be bowing down to Yitro? I understand Yitro bowing down to Moshe because Moshe is the king. But why would there be a suspicion that Moshe would bow down to his father-in-law?
Because his father-in-law.
Correct, because his father-in-law. And we have to have respect for our father-in-law the same as we would for our father. Our parents from the wife becomes like our parents. We have to show them the same derech eretz. I should say like this. If my father would say one thing and my father-in-law would say something else, obviously I'd have to listen to my father because my father gets first dibs. But beside that, in normal situations, I have to give them the same respect. So it makes sense in those days that you would bow down. The problem for him bowing down, though, would be he is no longer Moshe by himself. Now he's the leader of the Jewish people. So the question is, could he bow down at that point? This was a problem that Yosef faced when he was, after the father died, why he didn't invite the brothers into his house to eat. If he would have invited them to eat, so who would be at the head of the table? By rights, it should be Reuven, the firstborn. But he lost out to Judah. Fine, so Judah would be the king. But Yosef couldn't allow Yehuda to be there because that would say that Yosef was below Yehuda. And in the Egyptian culture, Yosef was the top dog. So in order not to insult the brothers or to get into that sort of argument, it's not an argument, they wouldn't have gone to the argument of it, but in order not to avoid all problems, he just didn't invite them. And that's why they thought that he hated them. So we see that many times, this misunderstanding or this, I want to give you kavod, but I can't give you kavod because it'll detract from my office, not my kavod, but the kavod of my office. So it becomes a big problem. So that's what I'm saying. You go back and forth. Rashi is saying, I don't know who bowed down to whom. Either way, it's not good, because how could it be that? And the only way that Yitro could bow down to his son-in-law is to say, like we said with Yaakov bowing down to Yosef, that every year in the forest, in the wild kingdom, the fox becomes the what do they call it? The top dog in the whole animal kingdom. And that day, even the lion has to bow down to him once a year. It's a thing from the Midrash. So also here, you could say the same thing. That Yitro, even though he was a great man, since he's here walking into the situation, he has to bow down to the king. Okay. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a very interesting discussion as to who is bowing down to whom.
Why does the fox get one day a year when it's the king?
It's just the way the wild kingdom works.
Oh, okay.
It's just something the Midrash says. I'm not sure why, but it's just what it is. Now here's the next two verses what I really want to focus on. It says, Vayisaper Moshe lechodno. So Moshe told to his father-in-law, all that Hashem did to Pharaoh and to Egypt, Alodot Yisrael, on the matters of Israel, and all the stuff that was found on the way, Abaderach on the way, Hashem, and Hashem saved them. So, what's going on? Moshe, why did he tell him? His intent was Limshoch et libo the karvel the Torah, to pull his heart to get him closer to the Torah. So here Yitro was coming because he was enthralled by this whole concept of God saving them. He understood who God was. He was a man on a real search. He looked at our religions, it says, and we'll see that he holds now that God is the true God. Fine. But stronger than every other God. But the point is, he was a searcher. And so Moshe, knowing who his father-in-law was, decided to tell him all these stories and to try to pull his heart to come close to Torah. Notice, then, this is a very important thing to realize, he didn't tell him the halachot. He didn't give him Gemaras. You know, if you open up a Gemara, it's a very intellectual study. I have to know what's going on. I have to go back and forth. You would enjoy because you're a computer programmer. But it's a very strange thing that is intellectual. It's totally intellectual. When it comes to, if I want to get to them, if I want to get the group, I give them midrashim. I give them the stories. Because that we can all get into. You don't have to drink cup off of that. It's a very simple thing. I give you a nice story. Everybody gets the story. And I pull your heart. I pull your heartstrings. And I bring you closer that way. I get much more on the storyline than I do based upon the halacha. Once I get you, once I pull you in, now I can give you halacha. And I can bring you to that level of learning halacha. No problem. And how it works. But first I have to get you. So what happens? Vayichad Yitro. It's a strange word. Yichad. Rashi tells us that word means vayismach, that Yitro was happy. Simple understanding. He was happy, and I'll tell you what, and we'll finish off the sentence with that sentence. Vayichad Yitro, and Yitro was happy, al kol tova, for all the good Asher Asa Hashem Yisrael, that Hashem did for Israel, Asher Hitzilo Miyad Mitzrayim, that he saved them from the hand of Mitzrayim. Simply, he was happy. Rashi brings down the Midrash though. The Midrash says, Na'aseh b'saro chadudin. Whereas he made his skin like needles they were being pricked. Okay, why? Here you have Yitro. Yitro was one of the advisors of Pharaoh. Okay, he was there throughout the whole. He ran away because he didn't want to drown the Jews, whatever the case is. But he finally would run away. But still in all, he was part and parcel of that world. And here you're telling how the Egyptians were destroyed. His brethren were destroyed. And you expect him to be happy? On one level, he was happy because it's a good story. You know, the weak get pulled out by their God, and it's great. I like that. At the same time, though, my friends are dying. And that hurts me. So with every word, it was like another pinprick in him, and he was feeling that. That's vayichad, sharp. That's what's chad, sharp. It was sharp. And so Meitzal Ibodi Mitzrayim says he was distressed upon the loss of Mitzrayim. And that's Hayinu Da'amri Inshe Giyora Adasar Dare Lotivze Arama Ba'ape. That's why we have a saying. When it comes to a convert, you can't speak disparagingly about the non-Jew up to 10 generations. 10 generations. So what happens? You have Chris, who converts. So, okay, you shouldn't say it to Chris because Chris is right. Chris is ridiculous. You're insulting his father, his mother, everybody else. Okay? So now what happens is Chris has children. Okay, the children still remember their father's a convert, and they can still have a little bit of pain when you say something. Grandchildren, I don't know if they still remember. I'm not sure they know. Certainly the 4th and 5th and 6th generation, how would they know if their parent was a great-great-great-grandparent was a convert? Maybe they do know. For some reason they may know that. So the Maharal says, it's known, I don't know how they know it, but it's known up to 10 generations. That can pass down 10 generations, that information. After that, it doesn't pass. To the 11th, they'll never pass. But up to 10, it'll pass. And so the question that you have to ask is this just sensitivity training on our part? Here we are Jews, okay? A non-Jew comes in, converts, wants to up the ante, goes from being a Ben Noach, a good Ben Noach, hopefully, to being a Jew. Okay, fine. So now that person has accepted upon himself or herself 630 commandments. We say you have to praise the non-Jew who does that. You have to laud them. It's tremendous. They jumped onto the wagon. And so therefore, I can't speak to them like I would speak to a regular Jew. I have to be sensitive to where they came from. So I can't make any comments. That makes sense to me. And so that's why, even to the 10th generation, which doesn't make sense, it's not logical per se, we still have to be sensitive as to what it could lead them. It may hurt them a little. And we don't, and by the way, you and I don't know who converted. We know the first generation, yeah, but certainly not the third. We don't know who we're talking to. So now when we want to say something disparaging about a non-Jew, or how the non-Jews hate us and blah, 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 and all this stuff, or look at these guys that they're being killed, yeah. No, you can't say that, because it can hurt this person. That's what the Torah is telling us. The sensitivity that nobody gets. I don't think, including myself many times, the sensitivity is there. It's a real sensitivity training, that if we take this to heart, that we're going to change our whole language. We'll no longer say goyim or anything else. We'll be very sensitive. And, it's a strange thing, because while goyim itself is a good word, just means nations, the way you say it can make all the difference. Okay? Or like the word shagets or anything else. All the matter shagets. Shagets is like shiksa, is Aramaic for disgusting, detestable things that crawl around. Okay? But people talk that way. That's how they used to talk in Europe. This is Yiddish now. It came to Yiddish. But it's really from Aramaic. But it's, and some of it's even from Hebrew. Shekets, shiksa will come from shekets. It's a derivative of that. But it's, like I said, that's really what we have to, I think that's what the Gemara is trying to teach us. That we have to just be sensitive to everybody. And that we should not speak that way. We have to refine our language. I think that's what it's saying. I'm sure there are people who will disagree with that, but I think that's what I think that's what the rabbis are trying to get across to us. And then it says, "Al kol tova." What was it good? Tovat Haman. The man that came down. The beneficence of the man that came down. The be'er, the well of Miriam that was going around with him, via Torah and the Torah, via Kulan, and on top of all these, Asher Yitzilo Miyad Misrayim, that he saved them from Mitzrayim Aj Achshav Lo Haya Eved, like I said before, until now, not even one slave could escape from Mitzrayim. Shayitach Arts Misugera, because the land was closed, as it were. And these came out 600,000 to get a men, altogether 2 million people. So it's an amazing thing. Now here's also one of the best things. Vayomer Yitro, and Yitro said, Baruch Hashem. Nobody else said it. He's the one who said, Baruch Hashem, praise be Hashem. Asher tzil etchem miyad Mitzrayim, that he saved you plural, from the hand of Mitzrayim, miyad Paro, and from the hand of Paro. Asher tzil ela'am, that he saved the nation mitachat yad Mitzrayim, from under the hand of Mitzrayim. So what does it mean? Rashi explains, shehitzil etchem miyad Mitzrayim, from the hand of Mitzrayim, uma kasha, which was a hard nation, Miyad Paro, and for the end of Paro, Melech Kasha. He was a hard king. Okay, Mitacha Mitzrayim, Kitchugum Lashon Ridu Marod Hayad. It's the being put, being ruled over by the hand. Shayim Echbidim Aleim. He devoted that they will put a lot of they really put the pressure on them to work. The point that Yitro was making was, if you escape from a country that is soft, like America, Baruch Hashem, America doesn't bother us, and Canada doesn't bother us, and so many other countries don't bother us, and that's a soft country, and their rulers are for the most part soft rulers. Nobody's a demonic ruler. No matter what you want to say, nobody's really a demonic ruler in these democracies. But when you come to a place like Saddam Hussein, so he was a horrible guy, an evil person, but the people he was ruling wasn't necessarily bad. Can you imagine if they were both bad? It would have been bad for everybody, right? So that's what Yitro is saying. Here you were. Hashem saved you from the power of the Mitzrayim, who were horrible, and from the power of Paro, who was horrible. And now combined together, it was really a bad situation. And he says, Ataya dati, now I know. Ki gadol Hashem mikol ha'elohim, that Hashem is greater than all the other Elohim, whatever that means, gods, or something that means gods. Ki b'davar she'azadu aleihim, because of this matter that how would they translate that? That was wicked. Okay, that was wicked upon them. So Rashi says, Ataya dati. Makiru hayiti l'sha'avar ve'akshav b'yotzeh. I recognize this from before, namely that God is greater, and now I know it even better. Mikol Elohim, from all the other gods. Malamed shayamakir b'chol avodas elilim sheba'olam. We learn from here that he recognized all of these idols in the world. Shalihiniach avodah zara el shalo avda. There wasn't one idol that he didn't worship. He tried everything. Now, when it came to Yitro, there's really no excuse. I'm going to hit on Yitro right now. Abraham didn't know better. So he's looking and he's saying, sun, moon, and that whole midrash. He's trying to find God where it's in a godless world. Yitro wasn't a godless world anymore. There were Jews. There was the Bnei Yisrael were already out there. The talk of God was there. Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were not by names. Okay, and they were also they weren't doing too well in Egypt, but nonetheless the concept of God was out there. So why does Yitro get a pass for this? Why is it like a praise? He studied all these different religions. I don't think it's a praise. I think it's foolishness. Once there's something out there that's called the truth. So, and you know that is people calling it the truth. Yeah, everybody calls what they have the truth, but just be logical. You don't have to taste the fruit, as it were, of every single religion. You can look and see what they're saying and make a logical decision. Fine, that's something. But to do all of the different worships, which is what it sounds like he's doing, it's ridiculous. And then on top of that, when you see that Hashem is Hashem, to say He's more powerful than all the other gods, just say He's the true God. Hashem, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. What do you mean from all of the other gods? It seems that Yitro didn't quite get it. With all of his greatness, and this is me talking. Okay, I'm not saying any before. That's what I'm saying. But it seems from what is being brought down, that he never quite got it. He didn't quite get it. He may have converted and so on and so forth, but I'm not sure even how that went either, because he leaves, comes back, and so on and so forth. But it seems that he was still searching, and only willing to say that Hashem is more powerful than everybody else. Which, like I said, is strange. It's very strange to say that.
Worship your God because He's the most powerful God.
Right.
That's not right.
Right. So now it says the last line, which is when he converts, Vayikach Yitro Chote Moshe, and so now Yitro, the father-in-law of Moshe, took Olos Vachim Le'Elohim, that he offered up burnt offerings and sacrifices, totally burnt offerings and sacrifices to Hashem. V'yavo Aaron v'chol ziknei Yisrael. So Aaron and all the ziknei Yisrael, the elders of Israel, came le'echol lechem im chotem Moshe lefnei Elokim, to eat bread with the father-in-law of Moshe before Hashem. So Rashi explains, v'yavo Aaron Moshe, and Aaron came, and he says, Moshe Hechan halach, where did Moshe go? All the time we've been with Moshe. Where did Moshe suddenly go? So Allahu Yatsa Likrato. Surely he went out to meet him, but Garam lo had called out to Kavod, and to get him all this honor. Elish Aya Omed Mishamish B'Lifnehem. Really, what was happening was that Moshe was acting as the waiter. He was, make sure everything is good. So he was the balabasa. And why say before Hashem? Mikan Shanana. This is coming to teach us that anyone who gets benefit from the meal where the Talmidei Chachamim are sitting, it's as if they were deriving benefit from the splendor of the divine presence itself. So whenever you sit down with Talmidei Chachamim and you eat, like a shalashus, so you can know that you're basking in the splendor of the divine presence. Okay? And we'll have to stop there. Very good.